What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to give you an overview of some of the current data points, what just came out associated to SoFi, go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that said, let's get right to it. Starting off, surprisingly, SoFi did close flat. So nice power hour push right here. But I want to break it down on a lot of the abnormal activity that did happen, such as what prompted this and what prompted this. Today, there was 44.9 million shares being traded, 35.4 is the average. In the past, when SoFi has had this level of volume, a lot of it is linked to algorithmic trading. But today was different because you did have some institutions paying attention to it, more specifically right here. So for instance, you do see a lot of big ones, 7.27 million in one transaction. So it makes you question who is buying. And normally what does happen, so we're roughly around a week and a half until the quarter end, and normally at the end of every quarter you do have a lot of ETFs that do rebalance and whatever else. I think that's a little bit too early for these transactions, so it does show some entity out there did get into SoFi. So I see that as a very good positive. Aside from this one, you have 3.23 million and then 3.26, and that's not even counting the transactions that have been occurring on the dark pool. Today though, there was no official news from SoFi, so it was kind of just piggybacking off of the broader market's fear and shorts. So I'm going to talk about what shorts did because they were very, very active today. There was also a couple 144s that were just submitted after hours. So at 426, 409, and then 424. I'm pretty sure now going forward, every time someone sees a 144, they might cringe inside or just panic. But it does show a lot of directors. So Jeremy, looks like they're tentatively selling 152,000 shares. You have Derek White, 69,000 shares. And actually what I'll do is I'll zoom in so that way you can kind of see it right here. And it does show the approximate date and everything else. But you have this individual right here. So Robert Levitt, that is only 4,800 shares on, once again, today. So in reality, nothing really crazy, but still something to keep in mind. This is something as well I have brought up in the past that officers tend to just sell out their shares. But still, for the most part, they're not really substantial. It'd be one thing to see Anthony selling, but I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that. And then when it comes down to today, so shorts really did a number on SoFi. Don't know why. Again, I think it has something to do with maybe obviously just the options activity, wanting to ensure it is below that 650 mark, or maybe they just want to really push SoFi to around that $6 range because that's where kind of the technicals are leading for SoFi to go to. But they did increase 6.88 million shares today. 17.78% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 184.7 million shares overall are being shorted. Utilization 67.88, and then cost to borrow average 1.05%. So if you do look at the chart, they basically were the cause of all of this. They kind of go quiet, and because what really prompted this right here was this individual. So the FOMC member Harker speaks, and he ultimately did say that it will come back down to the data points, but they are not ruling out 2 rate cuts in 2024. So the market absolutely loved that, even though technically he did say that it could be 0 rate cuts. Is all going to come down to the data points. The fact that he did say that it would be 2, that clearly caused everyone to really skyrocket at this stage. So yeah, I think no matter what, the market is very, very backwards. Like, it will all come down to rate cuts if we all survive in this market or not. Very backward stuff. And I'll give you a quick overview of the current overview or kind of layout for this. So for the September 18th meeting, it does look like a 56.7% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut, and then a 4.8% likelihood of a 50 basis point cut. I actually did bring this up in a video earlier today, and it was at 5%, so it's gone down to 4.8. And even prior to that, I touched on this, I think, in my last SoFi video on Friday, if I remember correctly. And even at that stage, it was 6.7%. So it does look like the stance on a 50 basis point cut is kind of diminishing. So once again, let me know your thoughts on that. But moving on from here though, quickly popping over to IBKR. So it does show 3 days ago, but it just popped up now. but it does show a $12 buy rating by Mizuho Dan, who has a 49% success rating. So I see this as pretty epic stuff if you ask me, and I think this is just the start of something, and more of a maybe a domino effect might kick in once analysts start to kind of warm up and give double-digit ratings once again, because it's been a slump over this last little bit. So $4, 10, 6, 750, 4, 750, like 9. So I think all of those are just very, very crappy ratings. And so hopefully you'll get back to kind of these numbers. So like the 9, 14, 11, and whatever else, whether it be because of their upcoming earnings or I'm not really sure. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. So I just wanted to give you guys a full overview of all the updates, including analyst ratings and everything else. But getting right to it though, looking at the options activity, today 7.84 million in calls, 2.8 million in puts. You do have it somewhat evenly divided today, so 46% of all the options being done today were bullish, but with shorts increasing that amount, no doubtably they were probably hedging with probably 650 calls if I would make a guess. But looking at the open interest, you do see starting of a wall to be formed somewhat at that 650 mark. So it looks like they're kind of retracing, pulling it down. So this is why probably you are seeing shorts a little bit more active today. So currently 17,000 at the 650, 52,000 at that 7, 22,000 at that 750. So once again, SoFi will have another very big resistance wall in front of it that it will have to get above. And so who knows, we'll just have to wait and see what comes out tomorrow with retail sales, because if it is positive, that should be that nice push SoFi might need to get above that 650 mark. But as it stands right now with it at $6.46, it is right on this S2. So like I said, shorts wanted to really do some damage to SoFi, bring it down, not only to lead it away from that 650 strike price, but also to really do a lot of damage to its technicals. So the fact that it was able to fight back and crawl back into this S2 to this S1 is generally a very positive thing. So the next strong support for SoFi is going to be $6.69. That's not counting that 650 artificial resistance by the options. And then $6.45 will be that next strong support that you'll want to watch going forward into the next several trading days for SoFi to hold. On the actual chart itself, so it is outside the Bollinger Band right now. Very bearish deviation, so red line above the white as well. It is at 15 somewhat, so of course that is considered oversold. So it went from very overbought to oversold, so kind of opposite extremes when it comes down to that. So if SoFi does put out a good piece of news, then you could see a rush of value investors. Same goes for if retail sales is very much positive, then similarly you could see a rush of value investors for that. And on the actual chart, or I guess looking at momentum, shows number of retail investors were somewhat flat today. So institutions absolutely bought the hell out of SoFi. Shorts doubled the hell down, and as well retail wasn't really doing all that much. So a lot of abnormal activity today. So what's your thoughts? Why do you think that, for instance, shorts increased that level today? And possibly going back over here, who do you think did buy in? Because this isn't some regular old institution to have roughly like 7 million for one transaction. That must be some big entity. Do you think it's BlackRock, Vanguard, or who else? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Give yourself a shout out if you did buy today or sold. Did you guys do options? I didn't do jack all with SoFi, just watched the crazy volatility, but again, I was very impressed with it fighting back. So what's your thoughts? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and with all that, appreciate all of you watching.